We are becoming a nation of cat ladies. We are becoming a nation of cat ladies. So, guys, we know what the studies are saying, and the studies are not looking good, where half of all women in just 5.5 short years will be childless and single. This is going to have major implications for women going forward. Watch the end of the video to fully understand how this is going to affect women. And now let's just go ahead and jump right into the video. So we actually have some articles here. We have some articles from Pew, and we have some articles from elsewhere. This one actually comes from Evie, and it's 45% of women are expected to be single and childless by 2030 per recent projection. Recent data predicts, this article came out in 2023, recent data predicts that 45% of women between the ages of 25 and 44 will be single and childless by the time 2030 rolls around. The number of single women in the US is expected to rise 1.2% every year. So that's a massive detail right there. So every year, year on year, more and more women are going to become single. That's something that we need to consider. We're told by our culture that a woman who is unmarried and has no children is empowered and in charge of her own life. She has escaped the unnecessary burden of raising a family and being a slave to her husband. At least that's what our society has convinced us. Sadly, many women have adopted the modern feminist lifestyle and have chosen to sleep around, terminate unwanted gestations. So basically, they don't want to have they don't want to, continue on with pregnancies. If they unexpectedly get pregnant and swear off marriage. But these cultural trends are going to have a tremendous impact on the future of American society. Morgan Stanley, the bank, estimates that 45% of women in their prime working years, ages 25 to 44, will be single and childless by the time 2030 arrives. In 2019, Morgan Stanley published an article outlining women's impact on the American economy. The number of prime working age women in the US has been increasing steadily, and most of them are single and completely focused on their career. These women will continue to have a greater representation in the workforce, helping to boost wages. Economist Ellen Zentner explained in the past, education or lower paying occupational choices largely drove the pay gap. Today, motherhood is by far the largest contributor to the wage gap, since women who become mothers often choose to stop working or work fewer hours. But it looks like there will be fewer and fewer mothers over the next couple of decades as women choose to commit themselves to work rather than start a family. The number of single women in the US is expected to increase 1.2% every year from 2018 to 2030, compared to a 0.8% increase for the overall population. This is likely going to result in 45% of women between the ages of 25 and 44 who will be single and childless by 2030. This is an increase from 41% of women in that age group being single and childless in 2018. So keep in mind, it's already 41%. These shifting lifestyle norms are enabling more women with or without children to work full time, which should continue to raise the labor force participation rate among single females. Zettner says single women spend more time than the average family. Single women spend more than the average family household, especially when it comes to travel, nightlife, eating out, skincare, and beauty, shopping, real estate, retail shopping. So, of course, economists will attempt to frame it as a positive light that nearly half of women are single and childless, and it can only be good for the economy. So, guys, this is a massive factor to consider this, right? Single women spend more than the average family household, especially when it comes to travel, nightlife, eating out, skincare, beauty, and retail shopping. So, guys, this is insane. This is not something to celebrate. Women who are single, do not have a family, are spending more than the average family household. If something doesn't look wrong with that, I don't know what does. Use your heads very carefully. This would basically mean that even in a household where you have a man and a woman working and they have children, the average single woman is spending more than it costs to take care of an entire family, the man, the woman, and the children, because they are spending excessive amounts of money on travel, on nightlife, on eating out, on skincare, on beauty, and on retail shopping. Guys, they're spending more money than they actually have. It doesn't take a genius to realize this. They're spending more money than a man and a woman and a family combined would. Hence, they're burning through money rapidly. They're racking up large amounts of credit card debt. This is an extraordinary gateway to poverty. These women have barely any savings money put aside, and they have no financial literacy. They are heading in an extremely bad direction, and the economists are basically celebrating it. The banks are basically celebrating and saying, hey, you're going to be working for the rest of your life. Because that's what the prediction is, that these women will not get married. They will never have children. They will never form a family unit. They will remain in the workforce for the rest of their lives. We all know there will be no Social Security for millennials and many Gen Xers. That's why most Gen Xers are probably going to take Social Security at 62. Like the ones who are entering into their 60s right now, they're going to jump on that ship immediately. Like, they're literally going to be out here like, give me my fucking money. Give me my fucking money. That's where we're heading with Gen X right now. We can tell right off the bat that's what they're going to be up to, because we know it's not going to be around a lot longer. Okay? And Gen Z is like pissed off because they don't even have enough working hours yet, but they want their piece of that pie. And millennials are just basically caught in the crosswind. I mean, this is crazy stuff. I've come to kind of like accept something when it comes to women, is they operate entirely on feelings. And I've heard a term used before. It's not a great term, but when women basically fall under the guise of the state and major corporations telling them that, this is that you're now empowered because you don't need a man, you don't have a family, you don't have children holding you back, so you can spend your entire day, you can spend all of your life working. It's kind of like it's kind of insane, because they don't realize that this is basically they're being used in a way like useful idiots. All right, they think that this is something that Yuri, I think his name was Yuri or Yogi. Guys, you always like try to correct me about it. He was like a Russian defector, and he basically talked about how this is like a process of demoralizing nations, and he referred to these individuals as useful idiots. Guys, I want you to look at this article right here. It's kind of interesting. So, if you look at this article, it says that Billionaire Boss, that's an interesting one, who blamed work from home, wants to stop staff leaving the office for coffee. And there are actually people who are siding with him and agreeing with him on this. A billionaire mining boss who has already banned home working has said he wants to stop staff at the company walking down the road for a cup of coffee. Chris Ellison, the chief executive of the Australian Miner Mineral Resources, said he was trying to make a Perth headquarters as appealing as possible, as he does not want staff leaving the building. He said, I want to hold them captive all day long. I don't want them leaving the building. I don't want them walking down the road for a cup of coffee. We kind of figured out a few years ago how much that cost, wandering out around lunchtime. Notice, this is a period of lunchtime when they're supposed to be able to walk away, go get a cup of coffee, stretch their feet. This is their time. Nope, they don't want that. He said the head office has a restaurant, a gym, and other facilities that keeps them glued in there. Mr. Ellison, who is worth $1.2 billion according to Forbes, told analysts on an earnings call, I have a no work from home policy. I wish everyone else would get on board with that. The sooner the better. We can't have people working 3 days a week and picking up 5 days a week pay. As well as on-site nurses and doctors, the company has 9 psychologists on its payroll to tackle mental health problems and a $20 a day creech, so that works out to $10 and €10 and 10.34 euro to help parents juggle busy schedules and childcare costs. Drop the little tykes off next door, said Mr. Ellison. We're going to feed them, but mom and dad will be working in our office. Wow. The office is said to have a top chef serving seafood, Asian fusion, and sushi for around a $10, a special for around Australian $10. A special air filtration system which minimizes germs, water which meets organic and pesticide-free thresholds, and an art gallery. Mr. Ellison, who is from New Zealand, co-founded Mineral Resources in 2006 as part of a merger of 3 mining companies. The son of a pig farmer, Mr. Ellison started his career as a crane driver after leaving school at age 15. Yeah, if that just doesn't prove more and more that we should never have stuck around in school, many of us. I don't know what else. Companies around the world are hiring so-called experienced consultants to make their offices more inviting as employees push back on returning to their desk after the events of 2020. So there are people commending him for doing this, some crazy people. Julie says the assumption that people who work from home don't work on the days that they are home is pretty awful. And there's a lot of people who agreed with her. But then you had people like Brian who said, so you are upset as he wants you to work when you are on the clock. Most places don't let you leave the premises unless it's your lunchtime and you're clocked off. This is for multiple reasons: insurance, employee safety, workman's comp claims. Most of these rules are in place due to someone abusing the system. To say everyone works at home better is naive at best. No, of course, not everyone works at home better. But his goal, all of these things that he's doing in the office, has nothing to do with him caring about his employees and everything to do with creating a nice prison for his employees. Basically, we do not want you stepping foot out of this building while you are on hours. When you come here, you will never step foot. Do not leave the building. You are our prisoner. It's a very nice prison. There are many of you who are like, oh, angry, you're missing the point. I would love to be in that prison. Guys, it's a prison. It is a prison. You are not supposed to leave the building. They deter you from leaving the building. They will penalize you or make your life more miserable if you step foot out of that office. The goal is to keep you locked in there at all times, to keep you constantly engaged in working. That is a miserable way of living, okay? It's a miserable, miserable way of living. It's a sick and sadistic thing because they do not want you to have any other thought other than constantly being engaged all day long. Even on your lunch break, they don't want you stepping outside. I'm telling you, guys, it sounds nice right now, but gradually what they do is once they have you locked in, and it becomes the cultural norm of having people constantly in office and they cannot go anywhere, they begin to reduce the perks gradually until it looks more like a normal prison where you're eating cold sandwiches but chained to your desk. And that's the culture. When you step in, you do not step out until the day is over. It's prison. It's a prison. Right now it looks like a very nice prison, but it is absolutely a prison, guys. People need to wake up and realize this. And this whole situation is, guys, we are becoming a nation of cat ladies. Women are going to find themselves old, alone, desperate, without a man, without a family. They will not enter into the family unit. Guys, that is a biblical curse. I want you guys to understand the notion of this. Did not enter, when Cain was cursed by God. I remember reading, I believe, that he was barred, basically told that by God he would not be allowed to enter into the family unit. And even though he had children, he basically became a wanderer for his entire life. He had a family, but he was not allowed to enter into the family unit. And he spent his life wandering from place to place. And it's intriguing because there's this notion like, oh, women are going to be just fine. A lot of these people are going to become wanderers, because they're not going to, they're not going to be able to work for the rest of their lives. Many of them are going to burn out by the time they're in their 50s. Many before that. Gen Z is not going to. A lot of millennial women who've been working for decades and they have nothing to show for it, they're not going to be able to work until 60, or in many cases even like far into their 50s, because millennials have had it hard. A lot of millennials, with the crashes and everything else, they've been working for so many years and for so long. A lot of they weren't exactly built for this type of thing. So, they gave so much of their lives between school and so forth. They're not going to be able to keep pushing on beyond a certain point. Like, they're going to crash out. They have to, because they've given too much. Gen X, on the other hand, is a little bit different because Gen X has been working from day one. But even a lot of Gen X women, they're not going to be able to keep on doing this forever, guys. There's a thing such as health, like health in this world, right? And we get sick. People get all kinds of things. For example, there's there's BREAST That's a legacy left over from Susan, where we can't even say the actual word. And a lot of women, especially millennial women, are coming down with these things. They're less healthy than previous generations. And also some Gen X women, and of course, Gen Z is cooked. They're finished. So these women are not going to, a lot of them are not going to be able to keep pushing on even over the next 10 years. They're going to basically drop out of the workforce. They are not going to have a husband. They're not going to have a family unit to rescue them. And they think that socialism is going to save them. It's not going to. And then on top of it, these are women who absolutely HATE men, like they do not like us. They're not going to have anything, and they think that Uncle Sam, the state is going to subsidize all of their living by stealing the assets of men and reallocating it to them, or basically maybe shackling us and torturing us so that we generate enough wealth and resources for women, or confiscating our everything that we have. And I don't know about that. I think that the more likely event is that a lot of these women are going to be, not only childless and single, or if they have children, they will also be single. They're going to be homeless. They're going to be living in shelters. They're going to be living in extraordinary states of poverty, and no one is going to come and help them, and no one is going to come and save them. This is the reality that I absolutely do foresee. And it's a sad reality, but women have done it to themselves. So, guys, we actually have something for you. Unlock insights on world events, wealth building tips, practical living advice, and social issues by joining my Substack. Plus, get your free copy of the digital nomad blueprint. You can visit the link below to do this. So that's pretty awesome. What do you guys? I mean, what do you think regarding all of this? We are becoming a nation of cat ladies. A lot of these women are going to find themselves childless, single, living in poverty, extraordinary states of destitution, because women were never designed to live without a husband. And this is the reality that they've created for themselves and that they have brought upon themselves. What do you guys think regarding this? Do you agree that, a lot of these women are going to be facing extreme amounts of destitution, and the global society is going to look at women in developing countries, like even the Philippines, are going to look at women in the United States over the next 5 to 10 years and ask, how did women in Western society end up in such an extraordinary destitute state? I've said this plenty of times that the average man can live happily in a shoebox at the side of the road, but I don't think many of you guys comprehend what I actually mean. I don't think I comprehended the extremeness of this until some of you assholes reached out to me and you let me know, no, Angry, we are actually living in shoeboxes at the side of the road. What is a shoebox at the side of the road for a human being? This is a van. These are vans. These are RVs. Some cases, these are even trucks. So a lot of you guys are living in vans. Yes, vans and RVs that would be basically parked essentially, in parking lots or in or various places, but it's really the equivalent. Like a shoebox for a human being is basically a van or a really nice RV. That's a shoebox that you would actually be able to fit in. And a lot of you guys are working, you're making your money, and you're living in a shoebox at the side of the road, essentially. And you are very happy living in this shoebox. And you have tens of thousands of dollars piling up into the bank. And you have everything that you could want, everything that you could need, and you just don't care. And I have guys who are in their 50s and even 60s living this life right now. And I just don't think women understand where things are going. Like their evil actions, the evil ways that they've treated men, the fact that they HATE us so much. Like they've pushed men out of society and they've swallowed all of this women's empowerment jargon. They did this to themselves. and they're never going to stop. They're just going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and even as their lives get worse, they're going to still keep on going. And at best, they'll just try to gaslight everyone. When as men leave, using shame, insults, guilt, gaslighting, nagging, because they need to be right, but it's not going to work. Look at what's happening in the UK right now, where boys who are suspected of even being susceptible to extreme misogyny will be reported by their teachers to the Department of Terrorism in the UK, and these men will just come and haul these little lads off. Like, it's insane. You're going to have a lot of boys that are going to be extremely anxious. You're going to have a lot of boys who are going to drop out of school and refuse to go to school at all. I mean, and of course, the U.S. is probably eyeing this right now and salivating, like, oh gosh, how could we bring this to America? Because it's a global reach to silence men, to completely silence men, so that tyranny can take over. And women basically think that they're going to have like this special position in this tyrannical socialist communist state, and they don't understand that they're the first ones that the state will basically say, hey, if we don't need you, then hey, like, the state doesn't care about women. The state is just using them to get what it wants, to silence men. I've said it before. If you want to destroy a country, destroy the men, and if you want to destroy the men, use the women to destroy the men. And this is exactly what they've done. Let me know what you guys think regarding all of this, and the fact that women are we are becoming a nation of cat ladies. Let me know your thoughts. We'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA Men walking away, and cheers.